Hello, welcome to Access Muscatine. I'm your host, Chad Bishop. You've got it tuned in to Muscatine Access Channel 9, or you're watching it on our YouTube channel, so thanks for that. We're having a special edition this winter here, February 2020. Cold day today, but you'll be watching it when it's nice and warm. We're going to be talking about a book and a local author. Access Muscatine is a place where everybody's a celebrity, and we bring you the movers and shakers of our community. And today is definitely an opportunity to learn about a great opportunity to transform your life for the better and the world. So this is not something to joke around about. We've got some serious opportunities here for you to learn about what's called the kindness innovation. So I'm very happy to welcome our guest today, Randall D McNeely. Hello, welcome.
Hey, how you doing, Chad? Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll appreciate you reaching out to us. You had a message that you are passionate about and are somewhere along your journey to sharing it with as many people as possible.
Yep.
You're committed to transforming the world.
Well, hopefully, that's the end goal. That's the end goal. And I've written this book, The Kindness Giver's Formula. You can see it here. With a simple method for accomplishing that. If enough people were willing to read it and implement it, then we could really transform the world.
Yeah, so we're going to basically tell you about what's in the book, and then you'll get a chance to learn about that. Jeremy, you're going to need to tilt that down and pan to the left, but we'll get to that later. Go ahead and take the middle shot and fix that shot for me because I won't be able to think about anything. Okay, so let's figure out a little bit about you because you're living in Muscatine for 4 years, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
But I'm always curious about what brought you here, and then tell us a little bit about what you do on a daily basis. Tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, I ended up in Muscatine. I was living in West Virginia. I've been a consultant in the HIPAA world, healthcare consultant for HIPAA security, HIPAA privacy, doing information security for a long time. And I had resigned from a previous company because of some interesting challenges that they had that I wasn't really kosher with. So I was looking for opportunities, and a recruiter called me out of the blue and said, hey, I have this opportunity at a company in this little town in Iowa. Well, I said, well, what's it called? It's Muscatine. You ever heard of it? And I said, well, no, but she said, well, it's a great little place, and this company is H&I, and they want you to come and interview with them for a position for network operations and network and security operations manager.
Oh.
Actually, no, I take that back. They wanted me to interview for information security manager, and then I ended up interviewing for a different position, got that position, and came to Muscatine.
That happens a lot. So you got recruited to come to Muscatine through H&I.
Through H&I,
okay.
Yes.
And you've been here for 4 years.
I've been here for 5 years now, going on 5 years.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
5 years from now, I will probably be somewhere in Idaho.
Okay.
I love Muscatine, but I grew up in Idaho, and the Muscatine, while it's absolutely beautiful in this area, Iowa's beautiful, I miss the mountains. I got to be honest.
Okay.
But I say that, and who knows? I may still be here in 10 years. It's a great place to raise my family. So.
Well, yeah, it's always interesting to hear people's backstories, and a lot of people, come to Muscatine for job-related purposes or leave and come back, all sorts of plethora of reasons. But that gives us a little insight into what brought you into this kindness innovation. But before we get into that, we probably should give people the nuts and bolts of what is the kindness innovation.
Well, let me back up a little bit. What I'm talking about when I talk about the kindness innovation, before I get there, I have a question. We talk about climate change all the time, right? You hear about physical climate change continually. What we don't hear about is a term I call societal climate change. And we can see evidence of that all around us. What I mean by that, every one of us has a human need we need light, we need love, we need unity, we need peace in our lives. In order to be able to find happiness and be able to thrive, we need those things. Well, what's happening all around us is those things, light, love, unity, and peace, are being eroded at an exponential rate. And they're being crowded out and dispelled by darkness, by hate, by divisiveness, by contention. And we see that evidence on the 24/7 news cycle all the time, 24/7 by 365. We see it in our politics. I don't know that I can remember a time in my life when we've been more divided as a country because of politics. We see, the divisiveness on social media. We see, because of social media, people who would not normally say vitriolic or mean or nasty things, they hide behind usernames and then they say whatever they feel like whatever they want to because they think they can get away with it.
So you're sort of noticing that today's social media outlets are creating a more intense need for some change along the lines of quit being so mean, for lack of a better way of putting it. Because you can go back to the biblical times and World War I and World War II and civil wars. I mean, this isn't a new thing where people treat each other badly.
No.
Do you have any thoughts as to why there's got to be a payoff for people to be hateful towards each other? Have you thought about the payoff? Because I know you've thought about the reasons to be kind and how that can transform your world, but there's got to be a reason why people are hurting each other.
I don't know that I would necessarily use the term payoff. I can't think of any kind of real payoff other than people seeking for power, seeking to make themselves appear better than other people are. But the fact is, when you treat people like that, you might have an immediate payoff, you might have an immediate gain, but in the long term, it always comes back to haunt you. Always.
Even on the news today, there's something going on in Syria. There's so many different wars going on, I can't keep track, but what the offensive part was the crowd was chanting, "Death to Americans."
Yeah.
Really? I mean, come on, guys. God, really? You want to kill me? So that's why that's like such an extreme hatred. And like I think I hear you're saying, if they really go full circle and think about the kindness option, they might realize hating Americans isn't really getting them anywhere. Just more war, more hurt, more unhappiness, more despair.
Exactly. And think about how many people like to hang out with people who are always grumpy.
Yeah.
How many people like to hang out with, here's what I call, we are facing a situation. If you watch TV, you watch the news anchors, you watch the politicians and stuff like that, it's like they've got a permanently sour pickle sucking face. And it's like they're constantly are sucking on sour pickles. And their face looks like, it's all shriveled up like that. Nobody likes to be around those kind of people. Here's the deal. We could get really discouraged if we wanted to. You look at the news, you get the 24-hour buffet of downer fodder, the negativity that's constantly coming out. It'd be really easy to get discouraged. It'd be really easy to sit and wring our hands and wonder, what are we going to do about this? Is this the new norm? Do we just accept that, okay, that's just the way it is? Or are we going to sit back and say, all right, well, we'll just have to deal with it? Are we going to hope that the politicians will do something for us? How well has that worked out so far? Hasn't worked. So, the reason I wrote this book is because as a father, as a human being, as a member of the human race, I get so tired of all the questions on forums and everything. Which race are you? I'm part of the human race, as a member of the human race, because we're all humans. We're all here in this together. You're
on a crusade for humanity.
Yes.
Are you?
What's that?
You're on a crusade for humanity.
I am on a crusade for humanity.
That's a quote from one of my idols, Norman Baker. So I'm glad to hear
I
you
am
agree.
on a crusade for humanity because I think we can do better. I think we can do a lot better. I don't think we have to be willing to settle for garbage. I don't think we have to be willing to settle for sucking on sour pickles all the time. But there's a simple solution.
Okay. The formula.
The formula is kindness, and there's a simple, easy way to implement kindness on every level, at every level of society, at the individual level, at the family level, the community level, the national level, etc. And here it is. Every day, when you get up, take the time to think, I'm going to be a kindness giver. I'm going to be a kindness giver. And don't, for me, and this is just for me, and not to get into religion, but for me, I pray. I pray for help to be able to have kindness and love in my heart. Other people, that may not work for them, but do whatever you need to do to think about, I'm going to be a kindness giver. You could also try what I call the Lightning McQueen action. He sat in the back of his diesel, in the Disney movie Cars and said, I am speed. I eat other cars for breakfast. I am speed. When you say, I do sometimes, I look in the mirror, I am the kindness giver. I give kindness. I look for ways to be kind. I look for ways to spread kindness. I do that. So that's the first thing. And then the next step is think and plan ways to be kind during the day. Think about who you're going to be with, where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, and what are the potential opportunities in those situations where you might be able to give a little bit of kindness. You might be able to say, hey, Chad, I really appreciate you having me here today. Or give you a smile, or give somebody else a smile. Say something nice to somebody.
Yeah, you did that like 4 times when you walked in. I was like, what's going on? Then you asked for a bottle of water, and I realized, well, I didn't think of ways where I could have made Randy's life a little better and offer him some water on this cold day. So.
Well, but you did, so we're good.
Well, I had it available because I'm trying to stay more hydrated, but I also thought in the back of my mind, it'd be nice to have it to offer people as well. So
yeah,
I'm kind of right there in the middle.
Well, and that works.
But okay, so we got 2 steps so far: determine and then plan. So kind of think ahead, because maybe I'm noticing if you don't plan ahead a little bit, you might miss some opportunities a little bit because of the day-to-day stresses of being engaged. So think ahead of what your day, like a business meeting you might have, or somebody that you know has been down in the dumps maybe because their cat died, or I don't know. You might look ahead to your day and
maybe the cat ate the bird or something.
Yeah. Poor bird.
So think and plan, and then the next thing is to act. You look for and act on opportunities to be kind during the day. When I talked about thinking and planning, I always say potential, because you never know what your day is going to go like. You might have plans, but then something might come up and change those plans. But you can constantly be looking. I invite people to, put up what I call your kindness antennas. Be looking for ways to be kind. And again, it doesn't have to be anything super extravagant. It can be, holding the door for somebody. It can be giving somebody, just sharing a smile. It can be, my little girl came up to me on her birthday. I'm sitting in my office, I'm working away. I was kind of frustrated about something. It wasn't going the way I wanted it to. She comes and knocks on the door, and she opens it, and I said, come in. And she said, can I come in? I said, yes, come in, sweetie. And then I'm sitting there working, and she's just kind of standing there in front of me, smiling. I was like, do you need anything? And she says, no, Dad, I just wanted to smile and remind you of what I did when I was born. The day she was born, she did something none of my other children did. She's a little baby. I mean, she's barely out of the womb, and they let me hold her, and she turned her head and smiled at me.
Huh.
Newborn baby smiled at me, and so she said, I'm just here to remind you of what I did when I was born. And she smiled at me. That was a simple little thing. I was feeling grumpy, but that little smile, that little action totally changed my day. It came in, brightened my day. I felt a lot happier afterwards. So look for and act on ways to be kind. You can maybe take the garbage out, or make the bed, or whatever it is. And the final thing is to simply invite and encourage other people to do the same thing. So determined, plan, act, and then invite. Those are simple things.
So not just like controlling of your own behaviors, but also you're saying attempt to influence other people's behaviors, which is a tricky thing to do, obviously. But there's probably not a reason not to. It doesn't hurt anything.
No, because when you can share simple experiences that you've had with being kind, other people are gonna see that and want to have those same kind of experiences. Perfect example is the whole pay it forward process. People see people doing something kind for somebody else, then somebody else wants to go and pay it forward and do that same thing. I've had experiences where something I did touched somebody's heart, and they turned around and did the same thing for somebody else, and then somebody else did that, and somebody else did that. Think about what would happen. Think about what would happen if every day hundreds and thousands, even millions of people got up and thought, I'm going to be a kindness giver today. Mm-hmm. I'm going to think about ways to be kind. I'm going to look for ways to be kind. I'm going to act on those ways to be kind. And I'm going to do everything I can to invite and encourage other people to do the same thing. That would be transformative. And I think we can do that. I believe we can do that.
And you kind of mentioned in your book that something that, a little bit here might not add up, but there's a bigger thing that happens when everybody's doing it, and it's not the birds and the bees, not that kind of show right now anyway, But the bees you mentioned in your book, tell us about what you mean when you reference the bees.
Well, yeah, it's all about the bees. I have people ask me, well, I'm just one person. You know, I'm just doing these little things. What good are my little actions going to have to do? How's that going to transform the world? And that's when I say, well, think about honeybees. Honeybees, individually, an individual honeybee only lives 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks at the most. But during that time, they will visit literally thousands of flowers, thousands of them. And they will fly thousands of miles during that time. Some have said that a bee might fly enough distance to circumnavigate the whole world. I mean, that's 23,000 miles. That's a long ways. Bees fly a long ways, and the whole time they're gathering nectar that they bring back, and which is condensed into honey, which we all know about, and we all, most people enjoy eating. Now, some people have allergies, but you know what I'm saying. It's a sweet, beautiful, wonderful, delicious thing. But that individual bee, for all that work, only produces 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. Mm-hmm. I mean, that seems like squat. I mean, that's really not a whole lot. But that 1/12 is vital to the hive. As you get 20,000 to 60,000 bees working together in a hive, they can produce anywhere from 80 to 100 pounds of honey in 1 year. And you think about that, that's enough honey for the beehive to thrive, as well as us to be able to harvest some and help us to thrive as well. Now translate that over into acts of kindness. Your simple acts of kindness might not seem like much, but if you can influence somebody around you to be kind, it can have the ripple effect. Think about it if thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of people every day were getting up and thinking, I'm going to be kind, and then looking for ways to do that. That would transform the world. Collectively taken by itself, one act, or simple act of kindness doesn't seem like much, but thousands of acts of kindness, millions of acts of kindness going on, that's a lot of kindness. That's a lot of change.
You're kind of making some simple examples like holding the door, some things like that, but I was thinking an example. My roommate wanted me to go pick him up with my car. He doesn't have a license. It wasn't as cold as today, and get some food for him, Taco Bell. Yeah. And I thought to myself, first I was like kind of grumpy and in a fast mood, but then I thought to myself, he hasn't gotten out of the house much. I think he's a little down, and he suggested he would like to get in shape. So I said, you should just walk to go get some food, surround yourself from other people. And so I kind of put my foot in the ground, but it came off as, he was like, whatever. Came off as a little negative exchange. So I wouldn't say the kindness might have been, if you just look at it at the surface level, be kind. Yeah, give him a ride. He's hungry and he wants to go to Taco Bell. But the deeper kindness was, this will help him live longer, happier, release some of that depression. He won't eat saturated fats and food. So I don't know if I'm overthinking that, but there's a, well, I don't think it's just as simple as just like, or maybe it is. Maybe that's what you're suggesting is, don't get too far into it, but you can enable people in certain ways. So I guess the book could have been 5 times as long as what I'm saying if you start to think about what things are kind. Should we do unto others as we want them to do unto us? Hopefully not, because I don't like it when people open the door for me. That's a whole different topic, but there's a lot going on there. So what have you thought of examples where kindness isn't always, tough love is what I'm kind of aspiring to ask you about.
Sometimes, we have to give tough love. We can't always, we don't want to be enablers for people to be victims. At the same time, it's the approach that we take, I'd be happy to give you a ride, but here, let's think about this. You've talked about the need to get out. You've talked about the need to get in better shape. Mm-hmm. How about you consider walking? And it'll give you a chance to walk. It'll give you a chance to get out. And it'll be a kind thing to do for yourself. Think about that.
And then I did pretty much do that. Selfishly, I just didn't feel like being a taxi, but also I was remembering all those things you just mentioned. And here's the kind of the moral of the story is that even though he went downstairs, whatever, then 2 hours later he texted back and said, sorry about that. I went and got some food, and it worked out great. Like, he was thankful. I think it's because I texted him and say, hey, I can give you a ride now that it's the end of the day and I'm not in the middle of a frantic stress fest or whatever. Yeah. But then so that was my kindness. I was like, well, I've started to feel bad, maybe I should just let him. But it all worked out in the long run, whereas that he realized through my kindness by not giving him a ride that was actually an act of kindness.
Well, and here's what I say to people. Some people say, what do I do if I'm trying to be kind and somebody just doesn't like what I'm doing for them? So you may not like people to hold the door for you. What I say, you can't read people's minds. You do the best you can. And if somebody doesn't accept what you're doing, you say, okay, well, and then thanks anyway, and go on.
Could you be kind?
You're not always people aren't always going to be happy with your efforts.
Could you be kind at the expense of your own health and wellness? Because there's another example I'm thinking of where if I park my car, I always have things I'm bringing in and out. And I'm kind of grumpy about it because people will, if you don't get here in time, they take all the good spots. But we used to I tried to advocate to park further away. Get your extra steps in. Those extra steps help with your heart health, with your sodium, your cholesterol. But by me saving the good spots for everybody else, I'm contributing to their ill health. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, sometimes you do things that seem selfless, but you're not being kind to yourself because you're always outwardly thinking about other people's happiness.
Well, here's the thing. There's a little song that I learned when I was a little boy. Short, simple song called Kindness Begins With Me.
Okay.
I want to be kind to everyone, for that is right you see. So I say to myself, remember this, kindness begins with me. I have to try to be kind to myself. A lot of people get up and talk negative. Let's put it this way. We spend 100% of our day with ourselves. Yeah. We do. So who's our own worst critic? We are. We're our own worst critic. So it's really easy for us to get negative and to criticize ourselves and to talk down about ourselves and stuff. But, for me, when I think about kindness, I have to start thinking about me first in the sense that I need to not talk negatively about myself. I need to not be thinking negative thoughts about myself. I need to look up and say, realize I have value. I have talents. I have things that I can do to help and build and lift and strengthen other people. And I have, unique things about me that nobody else has. And then I have to think about being kind to myself in other ways, taking care of myself physically. You look at me right now, I'm overweight. But I've lost, since Christmas, about 12 pounds, and I'm working to lose more. Because if I'm going to be the kindness giver, I have to be healthy, I have to be around for a long time so I can spread as much kindness as possible.
It makes it easier for you to be loving towards others if you love yourself, if you're healthy.
Exactly, you nailed it.
But so sometimes when like a mother might think that she's being selfish by having a me day where she, has the kids go to the babysitter. In actuality, the big picture of her mothering skills or fathering skills
Everybody
might be
needs
improved
time.
because they took that time, which they might feel as if they're being selfish. But you bring up another cliche, but killing me with kindness. Now, I'm not sure your health history, but I know in my situation, I'm being fed a lot. But it's a kind act, but at the same time, when food is so readily available, when people smother you with their kindness, explain your thoughts on just that phrase. You're killing me with kindness.
Well, what I think about that the most is Christmas time.
Yeah.
Because bless their hearts, I've got wonderful neighbors, love them to death, and they make some of the tastiest cookies and cinnamon rolls and other things like that on the planet. But they bring them over, and we've got all those plates of goodies and things like that sitting there, and man, I mean, that's just heart attack waiting to happen.
Yeah.
So there's times when I really appreciate them being so kind and thoughtful. At the same time, I love it when I get fruit baskets.
Now, here's the thing about that over at the Student Center at MCC. I don't care if they're listening, but this happens at H&I. It happens everywhere. But everybody will bring in the munchies or whatever, and they'll have like casual Fridays, and it's all sweets. And here's my theory on that, because that's that killing with your kindness thing. It's like, it's hard enough for me to avoid temptation at home. Then I come to work, and it's a welcome back breakfast with free donuts and coffee. Okay, well, how about some carrots? Okay, well, here's the problem. If everybody brought
fruit?
Carrots and fruit over there, some people would eat it, but for the most part, there'd be a lot left over, and they might, oh, thanks for bringing us the carrots and fruit. Here's my point. In order for this to work, I think you're going to have to actually not be doing it for your own gratification to get that thank you. Thank you for bringing the donuts.
No.
Because if you bring the carrots, that's good for them, and they'll eat them, and they'll be thankful, but you won't get that immediate gratification.
Well,
And so you have to think, you have to really be, not Gandhi style, but you have to be selfless in some ways and not be just doing it for the immediate response of, thank you for bringing the Christmas cookies over, because that's kindness, but it's not healthy.
Well, and here's the thing. When you're giving sincere kindness, you're not looking for anything in return.
All right.
You're not expecting anything in return. You just do it because it's the right thing to do. Now, in businesses, I talk to businesses about the economics of kindness. And in businesses, that's a whole different ballgame, because when you're in business, you are in business to make a living and earn money and things like that. But, even in businesses, kindness has a total application, because nobody likes to work in a crappy atmosphere, a grumpy atmosphere, a grouchy atmosphere. The need for light, love, unity, and peace doesn't get dumped at the door the second I walk into my workplace. So, you can have kindness in the workplace, and that'll pay a ton of dividends, because when people are happier, they're more productive, they're more loyal, you have less turnover, you have greater customer satisfaction, which leads to greater opportunities and overall greater prosperity. Yeah. It's the same thing with individuals. When I'm kind to people, when I'm nice to people, when I treat people with respect, let's think about this. Chad, if I had come into you and said, hey man, I want to be on your show, you going to put me on your show, dude? You're gonna put me on, I want you to put me on your show. I've got something really important to talk about, Chad. You going to put me on there?
Yeah.
How would you have responded?
Yeah, because I needed some guests for my show. Well, you actually offered me to pay me to go to Cedar Rapids, and then I kind of flipped it around. I was like, well, you know what? I got an opportunity to offer my kindness, because I think what I'm hearing is this is your best interest. But I know what you're saying. A rude approach, like, I've got this book I'm trying to sell, and yeah. you weren't going that route at all. You were just kind of feeling each other out, and I think we had a mutual opportunity to live and preach what you wrote here. Yeah. I always like to say that hate doesn't rid hate. Love can only remove us of hate. And actually, that's Martin Luther King, by the way, because it's in your book. And so you have lots of kind of show the graphic of the book, but you have actually quite a few quotes at the beginning.
I do.
That kind of lend some credence to the whole thing, because it's not just you're not the first person to think of this concept. You've just kind of branded it in a way that I think is important. You're gonna have to kind of brand it if you're gonna communicate to somebody. It's got to have a little bit of a hook.
Well, and the beautiful thing about this book, you look at this spine. It's little tiny. It takes 35 to 40 minutes to read. It's got simple information about the Kindness Givers formula and how to implement it in your life so that you can create a daily habit of intentional kindness giving. And it's got some great stories in there. If you're okay with it, I could share a couple of the stories that are in there.
Well,
I'll do a spoiler, or what would you like me to do?
Yeah, I think you're in a spoiler, because there's 35 to 40 minutes, and we have touched on quite a few. To read the book, it's not a very long book, but I think we'll pass on that part, because I have a couple more things to say.
Okay.
But because I want to motivate people to get the book. But I noticed by the brevity of the book that this is just one of many ways that you hope to communicate the message. Otherwise, you would have wrote a more extensive thing. So tell us a little bit about, I'm thinking about this TV show you were talking about, and different ways that you hope to be the bee that's going to make this happen. Because you're a bigger bee, in that way.
But my bigger kindness, I'm going to be the bee that makes this happen. Well, I'm going to be working with a whole bunch of bees, hopefully, to make this happen. I've written this book. First of all, that's my first step, because I really think this simple formula, if taken seriously and taken across the world, could change the world. I really do. I firmly believe it can. But there's other ways, too, that I'm approaching. I want to inspire people to be kind, and one of those is through a television show called The Kindness Hunters. I'm the executive producer for that. I've got some great partners. I got director and producers that have produced in Hollywood, and associate producers that have produced movies in Hollywood, and a wonderful consulting producer that has worked for Oprah, that has produced for Entertainment Tonight. All those good people working on this wonderful show. And what the show is a simple concept. We're going to give a voice for amazing individuals who have triumphed over major tragedies in their lives. They've had some real challenges, But they've triumphed over those things, and they've used those triumphs as stepping stones to build some wonderful organizations that are helping other people in need. And so we're going to share their individual stories. We're going to showcase the organizations that they've created, and we're also going to have some fun. We're going to have some fun, a little bit of fun competition interspersed with sharing those stories, so that we can engage our audience. And we're going to give our audience the opportunity to be engaged pre-episode, during the episode, and post-episode, and give them a chance to be able to give some kindness, to be kindness givers and kindness funders for these wonderful organizations that we're going to be talking about. So.
And I know I'm not involved with the show yet, but just had an idea of how to make that kind of entertaining as well, because I had a feeling you were going to go with the big picture kindness stories, because when you mentioned Oprah, I'm like, oh, there's probably going to be some people who are paraplegic or gone through cancer and different things. But I had an idea as a segue or part of the show is maybe have a kindness challenge where it's kind of like a cannonball run type thing, but you get a certain amount of points for every act of kindness you get, and a camera follows you around, and two teams compete to how many different ways they can give kindness. And what might be interested, the viewer then could see opening the doors one way, but they'd probably get interested to see how many different ways you could be kind, and then actually the team that didn't plan it out, maybe they didn't do as successful, but to see, I don't know, I'm just aspiring towards you're showing people by role modeling this behavior in hopes that they'll catch into it and see, oh, wow, that was kind of fun. Now they've got all this new list of ways to be kind they didn't even think about before. And plus at the end, they win valuable cash prizes. No, because it's not about the reward, like you said. It's about being on the TV show. But I don't know. That was just a thought I had.
No, and that's some great thoughts, and we've got some thoughts along those lines. It's gonna be fun.
So reality TV show, a book, and you actually you're touring around a little bit with the book, and you're maybe hoping to do some forums or lectures or whatnot.
Yeah, I'll be doing some forums, some public speaking. I'm open to coming to conferences for schools. One of the things that kindness does is if you implement a kindness culture in a school, in an organization, then one of the first things it does, if you implement it properly, it's going to expose the areas of toxicity within the school, within the organization. And the reason that that's important, we all know that in schools that there's a lot of problem with bullying. There's a lot of challenges with people being sarcastic and mean to each other. And when you can expose those situations and then provide kinder options, provide better ways of dealing with things or handling things, you can make the whole experience a lot better for everybody, including for the people who may be doing the bullying. I have, in my experience, my own personal experience, I could have easily been the bully. Had some challenges growing up and didn't grow up in the easiest situation. There was a lot of verbal abuse, a lot of other challenges that went on that I'm not going to get into here, but I could easily have been the bully. I was fortunate enough to have a wonderful, kind mother, and I was fortunate enough to have some really good friends who were kind to me and helped me to see how, being a bully wasn't quite the way I wanted to go. But I could have easily gone that route. So I have empathy for children who act as bullies. I'm not making excuses for them, but a lot of them grow up or growing and living in situations where they're treated like garbage at home. And so they lash out when they get to school because they don't have anywhere else to let out their anger. Now, am I condoning what they're doing? No. Whether they live in that situation or not, it's not right to act out in that way. But finding ways to draw a circle and bring them in.
Yeah, that could be value in the school setting, in the business setting. I know any given business, you can probably think about the toxic gossiping circle. So as we wrap up, let's see if we can evoke a little change. I'll do my part in the honeycomb here to think about what we kind of talked about, how social media, and we'll talk about Facebook specifically, is giving an opportunity to spread kindness, you would think, but I'm noticing that it's spreading a lot more hatred. So I'd like to pinpoint, and maybe you're already doing this, your name's starting to sound a little familiar, but there's this chat page in Muscatine called Muscatine Community Chat. There's over 6,000, maybe 7,000 people on it right now. So if you put something on there in a town of 28, 30,000, including the surrounding area, everybody's going to know what you put on there. So there's some hateful things in there. I'm not just talking full-on defamation of character stuff. There's plenty of that, but there's also somebody had a bad taco at Taco John's, that's a big swing. That could be like a $10,000 deficit in the business. But man, you get a nice hateful thread going, it spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any kindness givers around on the chat page. And like I said, maybe you've tried this
Maybe
before,
there needs
but
to be.
interject a little kindness right in the middle of the name calling and the talking about why the city did this, or why did they release school early when it was nice out, or why didn't they release school early? It was too cold out. People will complain about everything. Again, I think it's cathartic, and they enjoy it. They're not trying to change the world. Maybe they're just trying to unload. But like you mentioned, the teenage suicide rate's going up. I think there's a lot of negativity on the internet, and before you had to mumble it to yourself or your coworkers. Now you can broadcast your hate to everybody.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I'm doing on LinkedIn, and I do this, and I've started to do it on Facebook, and I'm going to spread it out, is a Kindness Unleashed Thursday.
Okay.
And where I invite people today, I'll be doing it today. Today is Thursday. I'll be doing Kindness Unleashed Thursday, where I invite people to do as many simple acts of kindness as they can. And each week we try to up the number. You know, if we did 30 last week, let's do 40 this week, or let's record 50 or 100. Whatever you can do.
I think, yeah, that's a great idea. And I think
log
that's a
it.
step you're putting your money where your mouth is. And I think I'm just, again, trying to give the viewers like something real practical for just the takeaway of this, besides the book and whatnot, is when you log into Facebook, because you said one of your steps is the plan, think of ways that you're not going to be an asshole on Facebook. You know, pardon my French, that's not a bad word, but there's no other way to explain that. Maybe if you go out of your way to just challenge yourself for one day only, not be, okay, you're saying the positive, be kind. I'm not giving them that much credit. I don't know who them is because I'm guilty too, but yeah, even better, be kind. I'm saying don't be mean.
Yeah.
Because it's just really hard when the chat page I'm talking about anyway, it just goes south quick. And that's why it's so popular. I think there's a little bit of, like, you don't want to stare at the accident that you're driving by, gawking at, but you just can't help but to look. I mean, it's like watching this train wreck, and I think it's hurting a lot of people's mental health in Muscatine. Well, and it's not isolated to this town.
It's an interesting thing, because when people are always focusing on the bitter and things like that, that's how they end up with sour pickle sucker face.
Yeah.
So if you start looking for the bright, you start looking for the good, and come in and think, you know, I'm going to be positive today in here. I'm going to share something positive.
Be positive on your chats and on your Facebook.
And on your Facebook. Share something positive.
Because what I do for that chat page anyways, I just don't go to it anymore, because you're just like, you're going to get the bitter face going on.
Why don't people watch the news most of the time?
Yeah, except for that last 1 minute.
It's like a 24-hour buffet of downer fodder.
But then when you switch off the news to your social media, then we're spreading it too. You know, it's like, geez, come on. There's plenty of positive on there too, but there's enough negative that I think you must have noticed that when you were part of your inspiration to do this was some of the new ways that humans have the opportunity to give kindness that they're not leveraging, and also ways that they're spreading hate inadvertently, maybe, but they are.
Well, and here's the thing. Hate is so easy to spread, but hate divides. Hate causes contention and causes a massive division. Kindness builds bridges. Kindness builds bridges to hearts that may not be able to be reached in any other way.
And that's a good point.
Here's one little story. I've got to share this.
All right.
Somebody asked me if kindness could ever stop a bullet. And I said, no. No, it can't. At least if it's been fired from a gun, it's not going to stop a bullet. You know, it's going to stop somewhere, but it's not going to, you know, my being kind isn't going to keep it from lodging somewhere. But you know what? Here's what kindness can do. Kindness might be able to prevent that bullet from ever being fired in the first place. When the Columbine massacre occurred, there was a young man named John stuck in under a table in the library. Dylan Klebold came in, had his gun, was looking around, he heard the noise, said, "Who's in there? Show yourself." So John got out from under the table. John and Dylan had worked on some plays together beforehand. John knew him, Dylan knew John. John had always been nice to Dylan. So when John asked him, he said, "Dylan, what are you doing?" He said, "Oh, we're just shooting people." And John's like, you know, just said, "Well, are you going to shoot me?" No, John, run. Run, John, run now. John, you know, there was a story in the Denver Post 10 years after that, after Columbine happened, and he literally said, the only reason I could think of for him not shooting me right then was because I had been nice to him.
Yeah, it's an interesting story.
I had been nice to him.
And there's lots of, that translates to many things, not just those deep ones, you know, those life-threatening opportunities, but opportunities to give kindness, like you're saying, then comes around. Just like hatred comes around to kick you in the butt, kindness also can come around in ways that you might not have anticipated at the time you did it.
Yep. Just a case in point, I was talking to a guy, I have a connection on LinkedIn that lives in India, and I got on a Zoom call with him yesterday. And he said, you'll never guess what happened. He said, I'm just doing this consulting gig, but the guy told me it was going to be running down. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to be doing for money. He gets a call from this lady that worked in the government, in a government office there, that he had helped out, I don't know how many years before. He had gone in and done some consulting and done something for her. She calls him up out of the blue, takes him to lunch and says, I want to help you out. I'm going to pay you this much per month because I really like the project that you're working on. I'm going to do this for you. You know how much money she gave him? She was going to give him the exact same amount. She had no idea that this other guy had been paying him this amount, but it was the exact amount of money, the same amount that this other guy had been giving him. So now he has another source of income. And it's all because he was kind enough to help her out at another time, and it came back around to him. Kindness always comes back around. Always does.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add? I think that's a good stopping point for everything because we can go on, and I hopefully this will start conversations with anybody that's watching, that's thinking about ways they can be kind.
You know, the Kindness Giver's Formula. Quick, easy read, powerful solution, simple formula, but powerfully effective solution. It's got some great stories on both giving and receiving kindness. That's the word I'm trying to think of. Anyway, well worth your time. I invite you to pick up a copy. You can get one at Amazon. It's on.
Bring up his name again.
And it's Randall McNeely, and it's the Kindness Giver's Formula. It's on Amazon both in ebook and paperback format.
Great. Well, thanks for coming by and sharing your story. If you'd like to be on Access Muscatine, you're more than welcome. Give me a call at 563-288-6070. You can try the kindness approach. You get more bees with honey sort of thing. But on a serious note, I would like to challenge yourself. I know I'm going to be challenging myself to be kind. And specifically, I'm just going to focus on the social media side of things because that's an area. It's overwhelming to think about kindness all across the board, but that's an area that I think in this community, especially in small town communities, there's lots of room for improvement. And I can't think of any reason not to be kind to yourself first and then to others. And I think that's the point of the book, and that's one of the reasons that motivated me to have you out to share that message accordingly. So until next time, Muscatine, thank you for watching.
Thanks for having me on.